Hello everyone, Krydax here. Welcome back to another Pyanodons video. So, in this episode, we'll start out with showing you that we've cleaned up a little bit of our Orlesia plantation nonsense. I've also got 2 soil extractors and 2 of the seed makers because that's the amount we'll need for our green science total at the end. So I already have 11, which means I need 4 more plantations. And once we've got that, we will have all the seeds that we need. So that's good news. And I think this factory is running full tilt. It's even got seeds backed up, which is awesome. And so what we'll do is just add in another 4. So what I'll do is I'll copy all of this, but then I'll delete a bunch. Like, I don't need really any of this. Don't need all of this, don't need all of this, don't need these inserters, don't need these inserters. So we can remove a bunch of stuff. And what's crazy, I mean, factory buildings are awesome, is that this is still more efficient than just placing them in empty space, you know? So even though I'm not fully utilizing that building, I'm okay with the results. We do need a few more flowers here. Okay, it looks like we're fully saturated. In that front, we can remove. So I should probably slow things down a little bit. Okay, and now we need hydrogen. Which we forgot to hook up, but it is available here. And we need the gas vent. Oh yeah, those don't need power anymore. They used to need power. Or at least I think they did. Maybe I'm getting that mixed up with another mod pack. But I think that is everything we need. Yep, looks like these are all working. Just need a little bit more hydrogen, but... Did I need 2 electrolyzers? No, I only need 1. This will be just plenty. Yeah, I think it's taken a second to saturate all the water as well. But according to this, we've got everything we need. So we need ground sample, which comes from soil, and rich clay, which comes from ash and water. So we'll put this here. Need rich clay. You can also make rich clay from clay and tailings, but tailings is a lot more expensive than water. Water is easy to get. Yeah, and the 263 water per second is factored into this, so we don't have to worry about more water. That can handle up to 6 ash per second. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find a few thousand ash and just put it in there. And that'll give us enough green science for a long time. We'll just take everything we can hold there. Run back over. Yeah, 7,000 ash. If I'm doing the math correctly, 1 ash is required for a third of a green science. So 3 ash equals 1 science. So 7,000 ash is well over 2,000 green science. So I won't have to touch that for a while. And now we need, let's see, we need more soil. But we can use the soil from here. So I can actually just, I think, grab directly off We need 0.84. So we will need just barely 2 inserters, or just 1 corner inserter. Oh, but that's the wrong building. We need that to be in an assembling machine, which I can fit just barely in this corner. And there we go. Ground sample. It's a sample of the ground. Somehow we get science done by looking at dirt. Yeah, that's how geology works, I guess. Okay, so then the other things I need. We'll need more petri dishes, which I'm not going to worry about for right now. I'll need some seeds, which we finally have going. All of this was just to output 1 seed per second. Isn't that crazy? 1 measly seed per second took all of this and all of this. And most of this. That's just crazy. I probably should have put all of these buildings in another factory building to save myself some more space, but I don't know. Sometimes it's annoying to deal with factory buildings. But let's get rid of a few extra items here. And it looks like we're running at full tilt. So these seeds will go on the same belt, because I think that's reasonable. And then we need bone meal. So that's the main thing. Okay. So let's look at slaughterhouses. We can build 2 of those. We'll need 15 paddocks, which is a lot. And I may look into making molten solder because I'm going to need a lot more cages. Let's just look at the difference in tin and lead plates. So the way it is currently is 0.12 and 0.06. Excuse me. So let's look at what it would be if I didn't use. It's twice as much, but it's still not very much overall. I might just do it this way, because that's just a lot simpler. And again, I can potentially just import the cages. And we've already got water barrels and moss, I think, just fine. Honestly, I mean, I'm running 6.2 biomass in this building over here. So I may not even need to expand this at all. Okay, so this is 1.9 moss, which works out to 8.5 biomass. So some combination of those two things. So I'm using about half of the moss, which means I have about half of 8.5 for biomass, which I still have enough for. So I can just use the water barrels, biomass, and moss that I've already established, which will make this a lot easier. So I can kind of forget about all this. I already have cages automated. We can just manually input cages. We're only going to need 1 cage for every 2 science-ish. So maybe I should bring cages up on a belt. I'm not sure if I should do that. Yeah, it's right here. We'll just bring cages up on a belt. Let's do this. And then I think I have, yeah, I've got some more factory buildings, so we can establish a couple here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how many spaces I like to have. And then we'll have to figure out how to organize these buildings. We're going to need way more than 2. 15. It's actually 16 of these paddocks. So I should start crafting a bunch. Let's see, I need stone, iron plates, soil, and bolts. A bunch of bolts. So we'll actually set up real quick a little bolt factory. This will just save me some crafting time. Bolts. What even? Okay. Bolts are there. So we'll put iron in. Sticks in. Bolts out. Bolts are just iron sticks further processed, because 2 bolts make 2 sticks. Or, sorry, 2 sticks makes 2 bolts. You'd think it would be more, you know, because bolts are pretty small. So you'd think like 2 sticks would make 4 bolts. But no, that's Pyanodons for you. Okay, so let's get rid of this coal dust. I don't want it. I also don't want this boron trioxide. I'm strapped enough for inventory space without holding things I'm never going to use for handcrafting. So I'll throw those in here. Got plenty of glassware. Okay, so what was I grabbing? I was grabbing the ingredients I need for the owl paddocks, which would be... Was it glass? No, stone. So 100 stone each, so we'll grab 3 stacks. Then we need a bunch of soil. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5 stacks of soil is enough. And then a bunch of iron plates. I think that should be good. So then we'll go grab our bolts, and we should be good to go. I will need a bunch more belts, and so I'm just going to take all of them, actually. I don't need any pipes. I'll need a bunch of inserters. Start with that. And then we'll grab these bolts first. That'll help out a little bit. Okay, so that's 4 more. We've already got 3, so that's 7. We need 16, so that's 8. And then we need 8 more. So build those 5 and 3 more. We'll save 2 more at the end of this crafting to use more of these bolts. And then I'm not going to worry about all of this. So yeah, we're just going to have, I guess, 3 slaughterhouses, not just 2. And that will make us our bone meal. Okay. And I'll need probably a couple more factory buildings. We'll see if that's enough. I was already kind of dreaming about this design. Not dreaming, but actually, maybe daydreaming is a better word. Was it in here? Yeah. So we're gonna... guess we can just move this building. I really wish you could name them. It's hard to tell. I think it's the one that says inactive. That's one that's already got stuff in it. Yeah. Alright, so we can fit 3 in each building. We're considering what to do with the water barrels. Okay, so is there any way I can fit 4? Because then I would only need 4 buildings instead of 6. I just don't think it's gonna work if I have 4 of these. Maybe, you know what, I have an idea. Okay, let's remove all this. Thank goodness for nanobots. What if I actually just have all 4 as high up as I can get them? Like so. Because then I can utilize all 4 of these spots. But the problem is I only have 2 belts in and out. And there's 4 inputs and 2 outputs. So that's 6 items. So I don't think there's any way I can manage that. Which is super unfortunate. Unless I'm missing something, I don't think I can do this. Now, if I had red belts, I could weave. You know, I could do belt weaving. But I don't have red belts, so... These are just 1 tile smaller. How many tiles are these? Come on. This is insane. 3, 6, 9, 12... 14 tiles by 14 tiles. Excuse me. Man, that is so many tiles. Okay. Well, I guess it is what it is. Unless I'm missing something. I mean, could I get fancy with it and move this, like, over 1 and down 1? Would that somehow help? No, I don't think... I can't see any way around this. I think I'm going to have to do it this way. So... yeah. That's unfortunate. Okay. So we'll have the 4 ingredients kind of flying by here. We can input ingredients to this corner building like so, and then we'll have 2 filter inserters. We'll need a bunch of filter inserters as well, because I want to make sure things get on a certain side of the bus. Although I could pretty easily put them on one side and then just filter splitter, because the total output is going to be not even 1 item per second. So yeah, we'll just put them on one side of the belt. That's fine. Okay. So we'll have our inputs. The 4 inputs come in on the left 2 and out on the right one. That's just how we'll do things. And all of the outputs will go on this belt. Okay. And then the inputs are going into there. And we'll use corner inserters for that guy, and then we need the inputs. This needs to be 1 tile farther. Actually, it doesn't. I guess we can just stop right there. And that works fine. We can even make it 1 tile shorter. Yeah. Okay. So the 4 inputs will come in. Now, is it worth re-watering those barrels inside? I don't really see a good reason to, because that's just more factories. We can just have all the belts go by 1 barreling factory, and that will work just fine. So we are making this recipe. So we need cages, moss, biomass, and water barrels. And we'll have caged augs and water barrels, or empty barrels coming out. So empty barrels come out here, along with the caged dudes. Okay, so we'll have something like this. I'll keep that Pyanodons. Be a little consistent here. machine. We need some more underground belts here. And then we'll have the water barrels. Let's see, how do we want to do this? Well, the water barrels go to the right, or the empty barrels. Copy that. And this needs to be one more tile up. Okay. So the barrels will be on this belt, and then we'll re-water the barrels right here. We only need 0.6, so a single inserter should be just fine. Fill water barrel. And we'll need a pump jack for that. We'll just put one right next to it. Okay. And then we need 2 lines coming in. One is the moss and biomass, which I already have a belt of. One is barrels, which will be here on this top, and then cages. So cages will go on the bottom of this. And then what's going to be coming out of all of these is caged augs. So then the slaughterhouse, oh, these are big. We're going to want to put those in a building. So then we'll slaughter all of them here at this end. Maybe right here. I'll actually move it down a little bit more. I think right there is good. So we'll need 3 slaughterhouses. I think we can do that. Caged augs will come in on this belt. Bone meal and cages will come out on this belt. Yeah, that works. Okay, what's the rate? 1 inserter should be able to handle everything. And we'll put on that belt. We'll make sure it's all on one side because there's really no reason for it not to be. And the input was on the top middle right. Output was top middle left. So the input is just caged augs. And the output includes bone meal, which will go to the left. And then the cages, which will go this way. We're actually gonna leave a space here. So that way the water can go on this top line and the bone meal, or I mean the cages can go on this bottom line. But then we'll need cages as an input. So we actually want to priority. So we'll do this one, input priority right. We'll accept cages from this direction first, but then we'll have cages coming in on this side to fill up the remainder of what we don't have, because we lose cages every time. I don't know if they're violent animals, and that's why we end up using cages. They don't look very violent. They look pretty docile. That should actually do it. We've also built up a decent amount of manure. So I need to jumpstart this with some barrels. So let's do that. We'll put in 250 steel, make barrels. And then I need to jumpstart some cages. And then I need to grab a bunch of the actual animals, because the animals are modules, which is so cool. But we have 147, so looks like our rudimentary automation was actually successful. So I need to grab cages, and they're not being produced anymore. What has gone wrong? Oh, nothing's gone wrong. We just need to put them on the belt. Perfect. Okay. Let's see if this works. We probably need a bunch more barrels too. But here come the cages. Get rid of some trees while I'm here. Looks like we've actually run out of cages on these other ones. Let's add in a few more just to make sure. Got 108 Braux. That's probably enough for a while. Yeah, look at that. Cages going in. Cages, those buildings are still empty. This one's not. But hey, these are running, so that's good news. All right. And then we've got water. Okay. I think this is all functional, so I didn't want to copy paste this until I was sure it was working. Just for the sake of compactness, I'm actually going to make this a little tighter here. Sometimes you want to add buildings later and you don't know what they are until you need them. So I'm actually even going to do this. Put those inserters in the middle just to make sure. And we'll get rid of all the extra ingredients we have here. But yeah, that should do it. Nice. Okay, so we'll copy this. Oops, that's not the blueprint button. Blueprint, and we'll call it Caged AUG Tier 1. And then we will save it. We'll put that in our small factory blueprint book. And then we'll also just copy it for copy paste, because that's easier than finding blueprints. But I think we're good to go, so we'll just need this in 6 buildings. I also need some more nanobots. And inserters. Oh, I've run out of cables. We don't want to handcraft all that. Let's go grab some cables. The never-ending story of not having enough. Soon I'll have logistics bots, and they can just carry it to me themselves. Also grab some more belts, because we'll need some more underground belts. And how are we on pipes? I mean, I don't think we need any pipes for these blueprints, but you never know when you'll need more pipes. Okay. And we'll also grab some more copper, which is over here. Oops. Always easy to accidentally run into factory buildings. And I actually have 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. How did empty barrels get on that side of the belt? Uh-oh. What's going on? Oh, that just needs to be turned sideways. I see the problem. Well, we're gonna have to feed a bunch of things manually now, but try to get rid of all these extra water barrels. Okay. So those three are running, those three are running, these three are running. I'll have to paste another one right there and right there. Power to these buildings. And then we need a copy everything here. Copy that one, and then that one, and then half of this. Well, actually, we need one more. So we'll remove some of this. I've run out of nanobots yet again, but I think this is working the way it's supposed to be. So that is good news. I have a feeling I'm short on cages because of the titanium need. Yeah. I don't even know if I'm crafting enough here per second. It looks like just barely one titanium assembling machine, or I mean solder assembling machine is enough for what I want. But it's also having to share some cages. Well, no, it's not, because I haven't hooked up this line with anything else. So it should be just enough bone meal. I'm going to start putting this in a chest for now. And then I'm going to grab about 1,000 steel so that the water barrels can saturate nicely. Should also let this build up to a little more steel. Looks like we've finally got enough. You know, it's funny, you can see just 6 individual buildings right there is larger than these 5 factory buildings, even though these have a bunch inside of them. All right, and then we'll put all this steel down. And there we go, we've got bone meal. Bam. Okay, well that was actually not too bad. We kind of knew what we were doing. We've got the AUGs going full tilt. This will be a little slow in saturating all the water barrels, but that's just short on cages. These are short on a few different things. It's the last splitter, so... And then we need one more, actually. Oops, okay. So we'll just copy the whole thing. Can't hurt to have a little extra bone meal, to be honest. Though, currently I don't have enough to craft. 2 more buildings? What am I missing? Probably the soil. It is the stone, actually. Well, we've got plenty of that. Right here. 2 more paddocks, and we'll be all set to go. This is very satisfying. You know, this is the kind of construction that I want more things to look like, but it just doesn't always work out like that, you know? All right. I think that's perfect. I mean, I miss things all the time, so there's a decent chance that something's going to stall out sooner or later, but I think that's all working, and the barrels are getting returned. The barrels are net zero, if I just double check it. Yeah, 3 in, 3 out. So I don't have to worry about making extra barrels to sustain it. It's just the cages that are not sustainable. Which, again, is weird. I don't know. And 70% just feels pretty low. Like, I feel like it should be more like 95% or something, where it's like the cages get worn out after, you know, quote unquote 20 uses or something. But the way it is right now, the cages get worn out after 3 uses on average, close to that. So, but yeah, we've got a bunch of caged augs going, and we are just slaughtering them, which is very violent, but it works. And so we get bone meal back, and we get the cages back. So, sweet. Okay, so we've gotten augs to bone meal completed. The biosample automation, we will just have to connect some belts all the way back to the biosample. I'm actually wondering, so there's biosample here. Yeah, if there was some like over here, I would just use that, because we're gonna have to belt things all the way back to here to get some biosamples automated. So then we'll need that. We've got all of this done, except for hand feeding ash. We have none of this, so we'll have to set all of this up. We'll need some more incubated petri dishes. So we'll have to see what to do about that. Again, this might be one of those things that I just hand feed for a while. If I can just get a few hundred of these, then I can get to bots, and then I can start making things locally. This guy, we've got everything completed for, so we can actually, gosh, let's start crafting that right now. Let's do it. I just need 3 of these assembling machines, and that's it. And we need this bone meal and these little seeds. So we'll take the bone meal down and over. Of course, I'm out of belts. I actually need to restock some things here. Okay, do I have steel? I do. Okay, so we need to restock the small parts makers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 copper. And then we'll put another one here for belts. And we've got 1,000 small parts, which is plenty. Okay. That should be fine. So then we're bringing the bone meal over, down, and over. We'll bring this over. Okay. So we need bone meal. Biosample. Relesia seeds at a rate of 1. Oops, that's the wrong kind of inserter. So that right there should be fast enough. Currently we're hand feeding biosample stuff. And then we need 2 of these bad boys. And we need to be grabbing ground samples. See, let's do it this way. So we'll be grabbing the biosamples from there. the ground samples from here. And this is for poor alien samples. Poor little guys. And then those will go on a belt going somewhere. And let's go grab some incubated petri dishes and some biosamples. And then I think we'll call it an episode after that. I'll give you the rest of my titanium, glass, some steel, and some lead. I do have lead. Okay. Sweet. What did I say I'm grabbing? Oh no. Incubated petri dishes. That's right. So we'll probably need to increase our production of these. But it looks like one of these makes 3 science, so we can at least get it started by hand. Biosample is not the same story. We actually make, it looks like we need 2 biosample for every single science, which is pretty expensive because a biosample is, you know, a steel, a glass, a lead, and 2. So that's 4 titanium for a green science. 2 steel, 2 glass, 2 lead. That adds up. That adds up for sure. So we will need to probably up our titanium production, to be honest. I don't really remember what was happening here, but I just found some extra steel, which I'll throw back in here. And we have enough. Looks like we're already starting to get a little backed up. Oh, you know what? That is something I'll need to be careful about, is that we don't... Huh. I might need to do this. Because otherwise, this one will back up when the guy on the end still isn't getting enough. That's what you get when you split things in a line, because this one gets half, this one gets a fourth, this one gets an eighth, this one gets a 16th, and then these two both get a 32nd, which adds up to 1, but it's just a weird way of distributing things when you actually need these to kind of back up for things to work out well, which they have. Looks like the first 4 have backed up, which is great. But then we need all of these to be able to stack up here together before they go back into getting refilled with water. Okay, anyway, we can fill this guy with some petri dishes and some biosamples. And we've got our first poor alien samples completed, which is half of green science. And you know what? Hold the phone. Research center. We can just handcraft those other things. So, your boy has gotten real lazy. And I think... I know I said we were going to end the episode, but check this out. I can just do this. And I can handcraft laboratory instruments all day long. We'll make as many as we can, because each laboratory instrument makes 3 science, so we're actually... I don't need those ground samples though. We're actually able to make some already. I do need a lot more biosamples. That's the current holdup, so I'm going to borrow some. I know I have some extra, but it looks like I actually used quite a bit. I used most of it actually. Oh, there's some. And we'll go grab some more, and then we can actually start... We haven't fully automated it, but we've pseudo-automated it, and we can start researching some green sciences in the next episode. Wow, I didn't think it was going to be that fast. That's nice. Okay, so we'll put the rest of our biosamples in here. And then fill this up with our laboratory instruments. And we'll just put those in a chest. I'll just manually carry them over to our research centers. Ooh, there it goes. logistics science packs. Bam. Wow, those little green cards took us, let's see, how many hours? 32.4 hours. Wow, just to get to green science. And I feel like we did that very fast. We did that as hodgepodge as we could. And we got there. So, we will call it an episode here, but first we'll look at the first things we want to research. So I do think we'll want to get this factory preview, because that lets you see what's inside a factory. And then we'll do this thing, which allows you to put items in a chest, and then it kind of shows you like what's being made in the factory. Then circuits I don't need yet, so we won't do that. It would be nice to have medium poles, but that's not high priority. Stage 2 AUGs require all sorts of things we won't have forever. Red belts, same story. Those advanced small parts are basically a light year away. Though I realize light year is time and not distance. Or I mean distance and not time. Solar, we're not going to worry about. Data array upgrade. Allows you to pick between 3 available text to change permanently the behavior of the affected buildings. I have no idea what that means. It doesn't unlock anything. Not really sure what's going on there. But where are the... They must be gated behind one of these researches. Is there coal processing too? I'm imagining that's the one that unlocks a lot of things. Botany 2, that unlocks a lot of new resources. Let's see. Like, for example, logistics. What is that gated behind? Well, it looks like a lot of things are behind red belts, even though we can't actually craft red belts. What about stack inserters? We will also not be able to craft those. They need red circuit boards, which will take forever. We will be able to get the nested factory buildings along with the blue factory buildings, which will be nice. But logistics, oh, it's just behind construction robots, which is a red research we haven't done. So we'll actually do that one. So our first 250, 750 green science, I think will go directly to crafting these robots. And then we will automate the cargo Pynobots. And once we've done that, we will be able to actually establish some logistic network stuff. And so we'll actually want circuits at that point, and our next few episodes will just be kind of fixing the base that we already have. I think the next biggest thing we want is actually coal processing too, which is stuck behind. Okay, so desulfurization actually is a prerequisite for coal processing 2, which unlocks all sorts of random stuff. And then we can slowly work our way towards raw coal stage 2. The reason this is important is it allows us to turn crushed coal into coarse coal, and then the coarse coal we can turn into more coal, so we can finally get rid of all of the coal. And then there's a coal dust recipe, because that will then be the only output that we have, or I guess the only byproduct that we have. And then there's a coal dust recipe that's somewhere in one of these green sciences that allows us to get rid of coal dust as well, or like turn it into something. I don't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, so I think we'll work towards that as well as the logistics, because that's one of the things on our list is deal with crushed coal. So we'll want to do that soon, and then we'll get a ton more coal, which is going to be good news. So thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to call it an episode here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time for some green science shenanigans.